it's time for our panel now. I realise that because we only have one handheld microphone and one lectern one, I'm going to ask the four panelists to come up, but I'm also going to ask them to move their chairs slightly closer towards the podium, so that I'm not going to be doing some sort of chairing way over there. Take a chair. I'm going to keep the microphone so I can't say anything whilst I introduce them. Okay, thank you very much. So, moving on from that really informative keynote, we have a panel on software credit. I'd like to introduce James Davenport from the University of Bath, Catherine Jones from STFC, obviously you now know Euan Adie from Hammitzsch, and Martin Hammitzsch from GFC Potsdam. The way we do these panels at the Collaborations Workshop, and I kind of briefed the panelists as well, is we are expecting the panelists to ask as many questions of you as you are asking of the panelists. So this is a slightly more free-form debate. But to get things going, what I have asked the panelists to do is prepare some answers to kind of like leading questions to start with. And in particular, to kind of get a feel for what people's backgrounds are and why they think this is important, I've asked them to kind of like in turn describe their role and why software credit is important to them. So I'll start with James.
Hello, James Davenport, University of Bath. One reason software credit is very important to me is that I'm my department's REF coordinator, the next REF, and particularly responsible for the impact side of that. So clearly I need to measure all the impact I can get. Now impact, of course, as defined by the REF, is impact outside academia, which means the citations per se are not necessarily the immediate route, but it's important to start somewhere. So I'm very interested in finding all the evidence of impact. Actually writing an impact case is very difficult. We need to know where to start. We want to at least start from citations and or metrics and use elsewhere, particularly if it's going to be if the impact is going to be policy impact rather than necessarily commercial impact. So from that point of view, also of course I do write software myself, mostly actually that's semi-commercial, and we collect our impact that way. But nevertheless, I'm interested in more generally. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Catherine Jones. I'm the lead of software engineering group at STFC, and in that group we support computational scientists, writing very long-lived code, and also the institutional repository of STFC. So my particular background, as you gathered yesterday, I'm both a computer scientist and an IT librarian. My previous role before this one was all about data curation, and to curate data successfully you need to keep the software. That's data news about software. I believe that software is an intellectual activity that needs many skills for it to be successful. It's not just writing the code, it's ensuring that it meets the needs of what it's set out to do, which is a non-trivial activity. And it's important that effort, intellectual effort, is acknowledged, both for personal esteem, that you know what you do and recognise, but also for career progression. But how that might be recognised, I think it's a very open subject. In the data field, people started talking about citing data, replicating the way journals do it, and therefore work out whether that's how you ought to do software. The advantage to that is that academics understand citation, whether it's right or wrong is a different question. I think that's one person.
So, I think those two things for me, or the reason I thought it was important when I got into it was I used to write software And it's partly, laziness is the wrong word, it's more about freeing up time for other things. But it seems crazy to me that if you write software for a living as an academic, that you can't get credit for that by yourself. At least when I was at Edinburgh, you had to write a paper about it, and then kind of shoehorn this credit for software into the citation. And it is, I think, the best possible way to do it at the moment, but it just seems wrong from an efficiency standpoint. So that's really
Hammitzsch. My background is communication systems and software engineering, and in 2008 I came to science when I went to the German Research Center for Geosciences. It was the first time that I was heavily involved in science, and I came there for building software systems. The primary task there was building early warning systems for natural hazards, and right now I'm in a situation where I lead IT-related work packages and projects and tasks. I lead a small team of developers. I take care of the communication between the developers and the different stakeholders in projects. It's important to know that we all run on, the team is running on temporary contracts, which means we have to apply for funding. And running projects, applying for funding, means that somehow publishing papers falls behind in our primary research output, which is software, is not really acknowledged in a way that it helps us doing our work. So the aim for us is to make a change in our institute and let's say for us in geosciences in general. So we started to educate young scientists because we think, especially young scientists, because we think they are the next generation, so they definitely will bring the change. We are trying to prove that research software engineers really make a difference by having sort of customer service mind, where we try to show that without the software that we are writing important projects and with a specific quality and with a short time given, the researchers and scientists really understand that without us it would have not been able to reach a certain goal. Of course, we try to convince decision makers. I mean, these are the ones who mainly have the money inside where the money is flowing into. And importantly, we try to establish understanding. So sitting in a room together with you means quite a lot, but I think we more or less understand each other very well. But when you talk to other stakeholders, then it's not only awareness, it's also understanding that matters. And we try also to implement basic services in our institute related to software. So credited software is basically important for us because it improves my personal working conditions, it improves the working conditions of my team and of our institute in general, but mainly they don't know it really.
Thank you. So I'm going to jump straight into kind of difficult questions now for the panel. I heard a great quote from Colonel Chris Hadfield, who's the Canadian astronaut who spent a lot of time in the International Space Station, about the way in which astronauts look at project management and prioritization. And he basically put it like this: when you're on a trip which has a 1 in 10 chance of killing you, you basically go and try and solve the problem that is going to kill you next. Don't worry about anything else. So the question I've got for the panel, and then I'll open it out to the audience, is, what's the thing that's going to kill us next about getting credit for software? So, forget about all of the long-term goals, long-term ideals. What's the one most important issue that needs to be addressed first and now? I did give you these questions in advance. Just rephrase.
Okay, let's try and catch up the rephrase. I don't think there is any one thing in the sense of Colonel Hadfield. I think it's like starvation more than anything else. We just don't get the credits and don't accumulate the evidence, the starting points, the evidence that could lead to credit. So someone mentioned yesterday that usually includes, as well as a license.txt file, usually includes a citation.txt file. That's a nice idea, but the license.txt file is read by the guy installs the software, the users never read that file, and the users will never read the citation.txt file either, so it's in that place. What one piece of software I'm involved in does, and which I would actually recommend, is that you either include the citation in the startup banner, or you include a type citation open brackets close, or whatever it is in that particular syntax to get the citation data. Because one of the things we authors have to do is make it easy for people to cite us and to cite us reproducibly. 100 citations, 10 to each of 10 papers, doesn't look nearly as good as one paper with 100 citations. So what you want to do is have your citation be consistent. And the best way to do that is to have something either directly or indirectly from the software that people can essentially cut and paste. So what I mentioned actually offers you both plain text and bibtext citations. But that's perhaps overkill. That's just my terminology. Thanks.
I think the biggest barrier is cultural acceptance. You actually do need to recognise software. And one of the barriers, especially for the people I support, is that the fact that the software is very long-lived. So I went to a meeting in January where they told me that their code was 50 years old. And when I started talking about citation and assistant identification software, they just looked at me blankly and said, "That's just too hard. How can I go through this?" So I think it's all about drawing a line. As a librarian, if we change our policy, we don't go back and change every single bibliographic record, because that's just too hard. We just change the ones that need to be changed and move forward. So I think it's about making people understand that going forward, enabling your software to be identified and cited.
Yeah, so I'm actually, I think it's a mix of the two. I think what the immediate low-hanging fruit would be to change attitudes amongst publishers and journal editors about what can be cited in the reference section. It sounds like a small thing, but it's a difference between having to text mine the name of a piece of software full text, which is difficult. You can get full text, and getting out of the references, but it's increasingly it's looking more like there could be more available better to them. So the problem there, the barrier, is that some journals won't let you cite a piece of software. You have to write a piece of paper about it. You have to write a paper for your data before it is, which seems wrong. That is a weird cultural social thing, but it's something that I feel like we can overcome.
So I think that citation is important, but it's not the only thing. I think it's currently the lack of understanding from my point of view. So we're talking about visibility, awareness, or reputation, or something like that. But in the end, when it comes to looking at software which passes different stages in the lifetime, then you have different roles involved in these different stages. And the questions are, who are the stakeholders in these stages? Which are the roles? Who is giving the credit for the software? And of course, we need something, a measurable value. That means, for what are they giving credit? We need an understanding here. Currently, from my point of view, there is still a big lack of understanding what software really means for science and what it really can bring to those who do the research and who are responsible to support the research.
There's a question. I was going to say what Euan said there about issues with citing software, something that I very definitely come across with journals saying, well, you can't cite it, it's not a citable thing, or co-authors or editors or reviewers going, but why are you paying out your article with journal citations to software? You're just doing like a citation gang thing in your friend's citation so they get promotion and so on. We were talking about actually talked about yesterday about whether there was more problems with this, and it's actually a survey, sorry to hijack it, there's a survey that I put a link to on the Slack channel, but we get at the moment, asking people what experiences they've had with this and whether they've run into those problems. So I think it's something that in some fields people find it's not a problem at all, and it's kind of expected, but other people try and do it and just get disheartened. The first time they ever try and cite software, they don't know, can't do that, go away. And then that is disheartened everybody.
Yeah.
So actually taking it a little bit further then, both to the panel and to the participants, how could we change that? How could we persuade journals to allow both citation of software directly as references, and also to somehow change the attitudes of reviewers such that it's not felt that citing your own software is somehow kind of like reference padding? What would we use to encourage people to change?
I think it's to show that there's a generated value. So software in science is generating specific value, and this value is different for the different stakeholders involved. And we have to identify this value for these stakeholders. That means credit can be converted into visibility, acknowledgement, reputation, but it also can be exchanged into financial resources, for example. So giving credit for software is something that comes in advance of translating it into the real value, the generated value for those who are involved primarily. And I think, again, we need awareness and the same understanding here, that everyone also sees that the work that research software engineers are doing is not in competition to researchers or scientists, for example, which nowadays often see also software-related activities or financial resources which are required to build a software infrastructure and the people around. They see primarily the cutting of a specific limited set of resources and think that this, if there's money going to software infrastructure, is not directly benefiting for their research. So we have to show somehow that that there is value generated, and citation is just one thing that can be used, but there are also, from my point of view, other measurements and metrics that should be used and applied differently for the different stakeholders.
I think it's also useful to look at what's happening with some research data set, which I think is enjoying a success in that sense, and it is becoming more acceptable to cite data sets and stuff. And really, I think there's kind of three things that are happening here. So one is that, and it's being driven by different initiatives, like Data Drive or Picture. Some of these groups have enough clout, I suppose, to be able to go to conferences, to go to publisher conferences for one, to talk to publishers, to say this is what we're doing, here's why it's useful for research, this kind of thing. I think the second one is that it's being driven top down a lot from funders. So if you look at big funders like the Gates Foundation, in the US as well as open access stuff they're pushing, they're also pushing out research data as the big thing. When you, as a researcher funded by Gates, put all of your research data into a repository like Drive or Picture, or your institutional repository. And then the third one, which I think is one of those, well, kind of, which wasn't true, but it is true, is that if you think about getting something into the scholarly record from a publishing perspective, there's probably three things you need to do. You need to give it an identifier, which is DOIs for papers. It might not be for something, but you need to get it into the scholarly record in the sense that it's in a dark archive somewhere, so if the publisher or the repository disappears, there's another 12 libraries that have a copy of it somewhere. And then finally, for papers, you need to have some sort of ethical responsibility. So for journals that are signing up to the code committee on publication ethics. So basically, if somebody commits fraud or you put something up that you shouldn't have, it can be retracted and the system can recover from that. I don't know what the process for that, doing that in software is, but because data has been able to do that again with sites like Picture and Drive, it has helped a lot.
I would agree with Euan. I think this aspect of software is a bit like open access publications was 10 years ago, and that you need to influence the publishers. And if you take the data example, there's now research data rights. If you
was an interest group that started, but it didn't really get much further. Because I think there's still something where there is, even within the group of people who want to make a difference, some sort of kind of cliques going on. But that's my own personal opinion.
Yes, I won't say my personal opinion that but I think it's all about getting out there and influencing and, picking out domains, because it's a very different thing, domains of practices. And it's about picking domains that don't do it now.
Yes, I've actually never had a problem with citing software as an author. As a reviewer or journal editor, I've had problems with people putting, frankly, rather dodgy references. They say the package so-and-so obtainable from such and such, and I'd like to have a more scholarly citation than that. I've come back and at least maybe a technical report or something that one can actually cite in the format that people expect it. That's the point. Because unfortunately these days people don't actually read every paper and check the citations. They rely on Google Scholar or Scopus or something to collect them. And therefore citation has to be something that's sort of parsable by these beasts. Unless I'm going to do an awful lot of scraping. I graduate the amount of scraping you do, but it's an awful lot of scraping. So my problem has been the dodginess of the citations. Other people, I never had a problem providing I produce either a citation to tech report or journal articles. I've never had a problem with that myself. But fields vary greatly, that's certainly the case. And those people in fields that find it difficult, I would suggest that one has to first find a sympathetic journal editor or something, because these are the people who actually control much of those processes. And I have actually, again, as a journal editor or a conference program chair, occasionally had to go back and say, do include a citation. I have done that, but I think I'm probably fairly rare in that.
So that's actually a really good question, because I think what I've heard from some of the answers from the panel in response to that question is that there are potentially a couple of issues around how you ensure that software is referenced in papers. A lot of it is cultural and social. A lot of it seems to be around how we persuade editors to change their guidelines and how we persuade reviewers to see this as an acceptable practice. On the other flip side, Martin, for instance, you mentioned that perhaps it's not just the sort of standard references that we're looking to. Perhaps we're looking at alternative ways of being able to identify the engagement and the impact of software in scholarly outputs. So is it a case that we can solve the social problem by providing technical frameworks that help change people's attitudes? Or does it have to go the other way? Do you have to kind of ensure that you change people's attitudes before people will use frameworks like DEPC and Metric and so on, and not to kind of disparage the work of these two projects, but to make sure that they get mainstream acceptance rather than acceptance amongst the sorts of people who are believers, the converted. So yeah, which comes first? Is it the social problem or is it the technical problem? So Peter there, okay. Let's go to the audience first of all. Let's go to Manny first.
So I think we have a very good example and lesson to learn from the data from the Hammitzsch data. They have somehow managed to do a lot of logging. Many papers have seen that now it's essential that data sets are recitable, and I think that to me will be something that the software kind of left behind a bit. I think we could sort of learn quite a bit from that.
Was that Karen?
Yeah. Really contentious in this field, but one of the opportunities that we have in citation and in educating where we're coming from, software development particularly, and the functionality based on the previous functionality that exists, so rapidly extending software that exists and coalescing on a number of robust platforms rather than looking for impact in being innovative.
It sounded like there was an answer in there, so.
Because you think, well, I want to use it, I want to do something new, do I want to be part of a club, do I want to do something differently, do I want to extend?
Yeah, so I think that's a very good point, basically, that perhaps we see as impact the benefit of being collaborative rather than being novel. And again, I'll kind of like point back to what I said in my lightning talk about stern review of REF. That is maybe a point that people might want to make, and that as a response to that review, because it is, I think, something which is colouring the way that we see impact. So, James.
So, I was interested in the comment that a more scholarly way of citing software than just sticking a URL and references, and it looks really jarring when you read through a list of references and you get to one that does look like that, right? And things like drill over software, which you're going to deal were kind of attempts to make that mapping between something that looks like an academic reference and could we do something on a bigger scale than that? Could you just define a volume number, issue number, page equivalent for some of the big software possibly? Just something to make it less jarring than citing software.
Yeah, so there's this question, because I think the other thing that was raised by Karen as well is we do see things differently in software. We expect software to have a number of releases which evolve over time, rather than being this oddly captured single snapshot, which is the traditional way that we look at a paper. So by the same sort of analogy, if we were looking at software and publishers, one of the reasons why I think it's always difficult to cite software is that we don't actually have publishing houses for the great part. What we're looking at is the analogy of self-publishing, if we were talking about the sort of standard book publishing. So, Ian, at the back.
Yeah, I just wanted to possibly push it in a slightly different direction, because I think we're talking too much about citations and not enough about credit. Because, people want careers. Maybe you want a career in sort of software engineering. And that means you want to go and work on a free system here. You want to go and work on square company to write. Right? On software project. And for that, you want to go and show you're the person who can do great work, which may never result in you directly influencing publication, but it's really important. So this sort of thing, how to get credit for software that you contribute to various different ways, which may not be related to citation.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So I'm going to kind of like push it back to the panel. So how do you get credit for working on software in a way that is easy to understand by the rest of the research population, the rest of the research community? So are there ways of doing this that will give people a career because it is a recognized form of credit?
That's a very hard question. I think that in terms of what to be recognised by, as it were, the mainstream research community, the professors who've never actually written a line of code themselves in their life and so on, they have to speak their language, which frankly is currently citations and letters of impact. If on the other hand you want to be recognised by other coders, then that's a rather different game. And that comes back to what I tell my undergraduates, which is if you really want a job in a cut and thrusting SME, put something good on GitHub and put it in your CV. And point to your code directly there. But that's a very different kind of recognition. I think we ought to understand those are different objects rather than try to find a one-size-fits-all tool. So I think they're different questions.
Yeah, so what's a good way of giving credit to software developers such that they can advance in research software careers?
Well, I think I agree with James that there are different methods for different people. And I think as it's developing, I don't think we really understand what we mean by credit. And I answer the question you were about to ask before we got diverted. I think these things are fast moving, although they move slowly. So when I moved to the library in the mid-90s, there was one electronic journal, one. And I did a survey, and my researchers around told me it was a waste of space, and they liked it. I know. When I left the library 15 years later, I told those same people that it was in print in the stack, they go, I don't bother. And their information-seeking behaviour did entirely change. And I think it's the same software credit. We won't know now what we'll be doing in 10 years' time with credit, but it will be much more recognised and much more important because software underpins everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good point, not to focus too much on citations, but I agree with you. You have to start somewhere. And I would start getting software up to the level of other research activities, so data sets and articles. And then, ideally, everything will be carried along. So, if in the archive space we're looking at development and other types of impact, this kind of thing, more output-specific types as well, then hopefully will be carried along with that. Software will be carried along with that. The question maybe externally, and I'm trying to, before I came here, talk to commercial software developers and say, well, how do you get credit for your projects? And nobody had a particularly good answer here either. And certainly, if I think about us recruiting, it's not so much about the impact of a particular project we worked on, more about like how we worked on it, this kind of thing. So it's tricky, I don't think we're going to get answers from outside so much.
I think that giving credit isn't a fair and not an easy task from my point of view. So the easiest thing is that we look at how we can solve this issue with citation. But we are living in times of open science. That means the software is just one research output, like other research results as well. And giving credit in a heterogeneous world of different sorts of results, research results, it's more or less the task of giving credit in a way that different research results are balanced somehow, and there's a readjustment. What we try to do for software right now, and giving credit for software-related activities, is to get a balance to the normal citation mechanism for publications, from my point of view. So what we do for software right now is also valid for other research outputs. So it will never be easy and it will never be fair. It's a continuous effort that we have been doing for many, many years, and it has to be rebalanced over the time. And when looking at all the different research results, the different scientists and researchers produce, from my point of view, the one and only credit that really comes to all of them is that they are allowed and enabled to continue their research, which basically is they need the resources for it. This basically means they need the financial resources to it so that they have time to do their research. And the credit system for each of the different research results, for example, like software, has to be a credit system that is providing ratings on specific metrics, where the ratings in the end can be somehow exchanged into financial resources so that the researchers itself can continue with their work.
That's interesting, because I think it is that kind of thing between the thing you use to assess someone's worth and translating that into the actual cold hard cash. So I'm going to go to James, then I'm going to Caroline.
Why do we want citation type metric? Because people want to get relationships, right? I don't think, I would conjecture, tell me if I'm wrong, that when you are hiring a programmer RA to an RA role on a grant, you particularly care about their citation because you were mainly hiring an RA to cook code for a project. So it's that. So the question is, are we doing the right thing at all in terms of enabling people to carry on contributing to research and make their way up career paths? So, one thing career path session yesterday is some of us are doing jobs in kind of support services type work, people by reading their CD and having a look at some code they've done and that kind of thing. And we also use citation types sometimes to judge grant funding thing. Is that the right thing? If you're looking at a proposal for some software-based research, do you judge it on whether how do you judge it on whether or not you think the software folk involved in the project are going to do a competent job or not?
I completely agree, James. We were talking about this yesterday. I think there are two sides to this. There's the career side and there's the science side. And James talked about this just then. He was basically about how we should cite software. And I think the snapshot actually is very important. Because the reason we want to have a citation to the software object and search object is so that the science is reproducible. So that's the first thing. So that's really important technical issue. I think on the career side, so the way I give engineers credit when I work with them is I'm giving all my papers, they're authors on papers, so they get all of those citations. But as other people mentioned, that's not the primary reason. I wouldn't look at an RSE's papers. I would think, do they have the right technical skills? Or am I able to work with them? Are they able to, are they good in team? And so I think the idea of software credit, trying to make it sort of directly analogous to publication, is not necessarily, not necessarily the right way of considering it.
Yeah, and it's possible also that there's changes in the way that we see that happening for just pure research as well. I know that some of that I'm aware of things like the new journals like Research Ideas and Outcomes, which are looking at the whole life cycle of what research means and what you should be publishing. And similar way, I see on Slack that someone has brought up the idea of contrasting this with artist portfolios. You don't simply kind of judge people based on specific things, but you judge them on the things they choose to submit and show off. So yes, Karen.
Well, I think we're all in a lot of agreement with this. But the opportunity that they give us actually, because we know there are things that are wrong with the standard methodologies of credit in research, regardless of research software. So if we disengage slightly from that and do review and look at people's portfolio and look at some reporters on GitHub and look at all those other things, actually what will probably bubble through is natural methods of recording the metrics, natural methods of seeing what the value is, as recorded by employers, as recorded by peers, as recorded by subordinates who are learning from those. And actually we let the metrics develop and mature for themselves, and then we take that, and then we have an opportunity to say to the research community, the wider research community, that's a thing that measures actual value, that people actually value a lot, gamifying stuff about how many co-authorships I can get on high impact papers, which that thing is really for in terms of science.
Very good point. I'm struck by one thing actually, when hearing all of this discussion, which is in some ways we've been kind of ambling around the burning question of who is it that actually gives credit, and are we in a position ourselves to give meaningful credit to people who develop research software? And I guess as part of that, how would we choose to do it ourselves? I mean, you've sort of mentioned looking at people's skills rather than looking at specific pieces of software, looking perhaps at people's own impact or engagement with the community. So I also very much liked the sort of breakdown you gave, Euan, of this idea of quality, engagement, and impact. So if we were to sort of think of that, and how we would like to give credit for each one, how would it break down?
So the thing is that it really differs from my point of view. So of course, involved in the software credit, there are the research software engineers, and I think there's no doubt that we all have understanding that is really required, and we have let's say, more or less a harmonized understanding. But there are different key partners or stakeholders out there, which are, of course, the researchers. So when you are working as a research software engineer, you still have the researchers, the scientists, you have research organizations, you have funding bodies, you have system for software, then we really have to go out and ask them, what would you give credit for? What means generated value for you? And this also means we have to leave our comfort zone and really have to ask those for which we are finally working.
Yeah, I don't have a good answer. I guess I'm interested in the question about, like, thinking carefully about it then, who do we think we're not getting credit from? And then who's the problem here? Because if everyone in this room is kind of, maybe not probably agreed on how, but recognize that it's not as simple as citations. That's like, you say, well, if everyone in this room, who's ever involved in promotion tenure or reviewing graduate, we understand that. And maybe it's the same for a lot of our peers and things. Well, at what point does it hit level where you're like, well, who's the person that has to go, if I brought this to my boss, and maybe we should identify those groups. I actually have no idea where that is. If it's not the funders at the top, and it's not the researchers doing the research, who is it?
Wait, is that?
I have an observation to make. I think there's a difference between giving credit to software as an object and what the credit that someone who develops software gets. Because hopefully a person who develops software will work on many different software outputs with very different impacts. So for sort of some types of assessment, you're interested in software and has the software made an impact, which is probably where the citation analogy comes in, because you're talking about software as a research output in its own right that underpins the discovery of some description. Against how do you measure the credit of the person? How does the person's tenure work? How does the person get career advancement and esteem within both their peers and their wider environment? You must remember to understand, otherwise the conversation gets very confusing.
About feedback, yes, I was just thinking, I said earlier about two different questions. I realised I can give an example of that. So suppose you've got 2 bits of software which both solve, let's say, solve a certain kind of cost differential equation. And one's really easy to use and quite stable, the other one is much more difficult to use. So the one that's easy to use and stable gets lots of citations. One that's really hard to use and numerically unstable gets few citations. We actually drill down to them, attended the form where we tried to use X but gave up and switched to using Y instead, and so on. So should the PI who funded whose idea was to write the one that turned out difficult to use, get another grant? Not instantly, possibly. Should the programmer who worked on that be penalised? One would hope not. They've done good work, it's not their fault it turned out to be numerically unstable. And trying to disentangle those is very difficult. Unfortunately, life is such that the programmer who worked on the piece of software which, for reasons outside their control, numerically unstable, whatever it is, probably will be slightly tarred by the brush, and be able to minimise that. But so we have to distinguish here between credit for software, that software was not particularly good, and credit for the developer, who did his best, and it wasn't the developer's fault, it was a very unstable method. And we really have to distinguish those. I think I was approaching this question to begin with by credit for the software, rather than credit for the developer. But those are different questions. I think the further we can distinguish those two, the better off we are.
Any last questions from the audience before we wrap up this session? Okay, so to finish off, I'd kind of like to, I know Catherine kind of like primed this one by saying it's impossible to see what's happening 10 years in the future, but to finish off, I'd like to ask each of the panel members to say what they think will be the primary mechanism of awarding credit for software-related things in 10 years' time.
I would hope that the two things I just mentioned get disentangled better. I suspect credit for software as a research project will continue to be measured largely by citations and developments therefrom. I hope we develop a completely different good mechanism for measure giving credit to developers as individuals and people who write code.
Well, I've already set out my stall by telling it's impossible. But what I think will happen is that important bits of intellectual output of software will be persistently identified in a domain approved way, so that software will be more easy to be found and discovered and reused, and will be linked back to the data that it analysed or created and any textual work that happens. And by linking those cycles and making each of those objects in the research life cycle as valid as each other, credit.
So I can predict, this is also a prediction as a hope. I think we're moving towards gradually, and maybe 10 years is long enough, but I think moving away from more basic quantitative measures, so looking at numbers, towards kind of smaller case studies, which have involved as well, not just how much time it takes to do, but nevertheless, towards richer qualitative assessments of work is what we see across software and business.
So I like the idea that came from the audience, which was when saying that we should give credit the natural way instead of the established way. When looking at that, I think we are already on the way, because it means we need sort of ratings that somehow can be converted into something that is equal for everyone. And that means, from my very limited point of view, in the end we are talking about financial resources which enable researchers to do their research. And in advance of that, we need some ratings like those of Hammitzsch or others. Citations are one, and should more look at, or DFC, look more on the natural way of how we can give credit, and should then look how others can translate it into their value system.
So you heard it here first. I hope this all gives you lots and lots of ideas for how you can go forward and effectively understand the free text way in which to make your case. I'm not sure whether that helps Euan and his kind of like web scraping efforts, but please do, I saw a lot of discussion on Slack, please do continue this forward. In particular, continue this forward into potential things to discuss as part of the discussions that will go on this, later on today, and as part of the hack day. If there's some things that came up and you thought, oh, it'd be interesting to make a little bit of progress, I will note that Impact Story, for one, came out of a hack at a very similar workshop to this run by Cameron Nailey. So, you know, if you really feel that there's something that's